2 weeks ago, I was in the mountain ranges of the Dolomites, e-biking around the Italian Alps, when I got a message from Sheila. Azra, we enjoyed your talk at DIL in 2016. Can you please speak for a few minutes again this year? Of course, I said yes immediately. Sheila has a gun. Many of you probably have seen it. I was curious to know why I was being invited back. Perhaps it's because of my passionate appeal for donations to the noble cause of girls' education. But not to mince words, Sheila set me straight immediately. Azrapa, it is because of the way you categorize men into 3 types: the rich, the handsome, and the great majority. And she said, remember, after the speech, every man hounded you asking, I'm the handsome one, aren't I? Wow, how am I going to improve on that? Well, good news. Everything around us is changing. Comedians are being taken seriously, politicians are a joke. I have also changed my mind. Now I think there are only 2 categories of men: real men and unknown creatures only available in books and movies. No. I mean, there are 2 types of men. They can either be happy or they can be right. No, that's not good. I think there's 2 types of men. They're either good for money or good for nothing. And the problem with girls is that they get excited about nothing and then they marry him. I remember once I walked into my late husband Harvey's study, and I was appalled to see the mess. I said, Harvey, how can you live like this? And he said, do you see my clothes lying on the floor? I said, yes, I see them. He very calmly said, well, I don't. He often told me as if I said, I'm going to fix it, I will fix it. You don't have to remind me of it every 6 months. So, are you surprised that at our 10th anniversary, I read him the following poem? I may have many faults, but you have only 2. Everything you say and everything you do. I jest, I kid. Of course I love men. The idea is not to pick on men, but only to use them. Only to use them as an example of what all of us, men and women, suffer from. An uncanny ability to simply ignore what we don't want to see. And this brings me to tell you why the last time I spoke here at DIL Gala in 2016 has acquired such deep meaning for me. So many moments are etched on my cerebrum forever. You see, my speech was recorded in 2016 by a very beautiful gay young man, Andrew. He worked so hard to make everything perfect. He rented the equipment, he arrived way in advance, he fitted me with the microphone, and he diligently recorded the speech. But he forgot to turn the microphone on. He never forgave himself for it. He died within a year of that gala, at the age of 23, from a particularly vicious form of brain cancer called glioblastoma multiforme. Andrew was my daughter Shehrazad's best friend since they were 15. I did not bring my daughter here tonight because I think she would have a meltdown. They were sitting right there at that table in 2016. As you heard from Sheila, my new book, The First Cell and the Human Costs of Pursuing Cancer to the Last, is about to be released in 10 days. What made me write the book urgently is Andrew. Here was a perfectly gorgeous, carefree, brilliant, talented young man of 22, leading a normal life, working hard, partying hard, and one fine day he feels a weakness in his arm, and by the time he gets to the emergency room, he is already becoming quadriplegic. A 9-centimeter mass is discovered in his brain, and despite every attempt by a team of neurosurgeons, it could only be partially resected. This meant that Andrew's chance of surviving more than a few months were 0.00. When he woke up from that failed operation, do you know what he told his mother? This 22-year-old boy, with utmost confidence, said to his mother, "Mom, don't worry. Just call Azra. She's on the cutting edge of cancer. She's going to find the right treatment for me. We don't have to worry." How do I look at myself in the mirror? Because you see, I had nothing to offer my beloved Andrew. No, sorry, not nothing. In the 16 months it took for him to die, we tortured Andrew with ineffective chemotherapies, radiation therapies, immune therapies, surgical resections, more chemotherapy, more radiation therapy, more immune therapies. He suffered dreadful, unbearably painful, blistering, burning, scorching toxicities of each. Yet the tumors continued to grow in 100 new places in his brain. He died a tortured death, and his mother and his sister, his father and his grandmother had to watch this. The question I asked myself is very simple. How many Andrews will it take? I have written this book to address the question. What you don't hear and what we are great at ignoring is the fact that half a century later, we are still using the same old /poison burn technology, chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery to treat cancer. We boast of godlike technology, cutting and pasting DNA. Yet, the treatment we are giving cancer patients belongs in the Stone Age. It's Paleolithic. As someone said, Cancer treatment is like beating a dog with a baseball bat to get rid of its fleas. Why? Why is it that despite spending $200 billion on research and 4 million papers later, we have nothing better to offer? Why? Simply put, we have to stop chasing after the last cancer cell with ghastly, mostly ineffective, toxic therapies. Instead, we need to find the first cancer cell in the body and prevent it from becoming a full-blown, bona fide malignant disease. Literally, it is this simple. Go from last to first, from treatment to prevention. And I don't mean prevention by improving your lifestyles or annual screening for cancer by PSA or mammography. What I'm talking about is a different kind of prevention. Treating the human body as a machine and continuously monitoring it for the appearance of the first cell. We can and we must use the latest technology to build implantable and imaging devices for this kind of next generation screening. Imagine going to sleep at night covered by bed sheets that automatically scan your body for the first cell. Or wear a smart bra for women just for 2 hours a week, which is equipped with 200 tiny tactile biosensors to monitor micro alterations in temperature created just by a few cancer cells. You exhale deeply into a device which accurately identifies the tiniest molecules that seem suspicious. Or once a month, you simply prick your finger, put a drop of blood on a nano sensor, and that creates a distinct magnetic field in the presence of just a few cancer cells. Or what we are working on at Columbia University is a tiny implantable chip that can capture, image and release cells constantly. A chip that can be installed under the skin at birth and continuously monitor you for the appearance of the first cell. Because cancer, even though more common in the elderly, does not spare children. It did not spare Andrew at 22 years of age. This is not a pie in the sky, ladies and gentlemen. It is already happening. The technologies I have described just now are all in various stages of development. And as Shella mentioned, my article, which appears tomorrow in the Wall Street Journal, talks about some of these. We will not need in future these toxic chemotherapies because we will prevent cancer altogether by targeting and zapping the very first cell. In fact, I predict that most of our medical practices will shift from active treatment to prevention. Instead of the elderly, as my friend Leroy Hood says, we will have the welderly, the well-elderly population. It's too late for Andrew, but I'm very optimistic about our own future. In the 16 months that it took Andrew from diagnosis to death, there were so many sublime moments of grace, of beauty, of breathtaking generosity, of profound love and caring and deep friendships. This young man of 23 taught everyone around him not only how to die with dignity, but how to live, how to gracefully face the challenges that life throws our way, to face them with courage, with persistence, and with optimism. And another young person showing similar grit and grace, and thankfully one with a far happier and stunningly successful story to tell is the story you just heard from Sheila about Kainat. This unbelievably confident, self-made superachiever overcame a universe of obstacles to carve out a glorious future for herself. Kainat's story shows that losing hope, giving up, becoming dejected is all in your mind. This young girl sweated it out while others slept. She chose to slog and grind, labor and toil while others partied. She applied herself heart and soul to her studies while others vacationed. She did everything to become the best version of herself possible. And despite all her personal efforts, her dreams could have been squashed by the tragedy of her circumstance. But then, that is when amazingly, there are people who come forward from nowhere to lend her a helping hand. This great organization, DIL, Sheila and Fizza, Tinky and Umar, all of you supported Kainat when she most needed it. And look at the spectacular success you helped her achieve. There are thousands of Kainats raring to do the same. You are the vanguard of knowledge for them, a new wave in the ocean of possibilities for these young girls. Ask yourselves, what talent do I possess which will help them? Then use that talent to change their destinies. But to demand change, we must be worthy of that demand. Let us back our speeches with action. Where there is conflict, let us bring harmony. Where there is error, let us bring truth. Where there is confusion, let us bring clarity. Where there is cruelty, let us bring justice. Where there is dark ignorance, let us bring the light of knowledge. Where these girls are denied the right to learn even how to read and write, let us help DIL bring literacy to their doors. Let us help them break the strangling chains of ignorance, of custom, of cruel sexual inequalities. With empathy as our guide and compassion as our compass, let us issue the clarion call for a new dawn that says to the girls, तोड़कर रस्म के बुत बंदे क़दामत से निकल, ज़ोफ़े इशरत से निकल, वहमे नज़ाकत से निकल, नफ्स के खींचे हुए हल्क़े अज़मत से निकल और क़ैद बन जाए मोहब्बत तो मोहब्बत से निकल. कैद बन जाए मोहब्बत तो मोहब्बत से निकल, राह का खार ही क्या गुल भी कुचलना है तुझे, उठ मेरी जान मेरे साथ ही चलना है तुझे. तोड़ ये अज़्म शिकन सिलसिला पंद भी तोड़, तेरी खातिर जो है जंजीर ये सौगंध भी तोड़. तौक ये भी है ज़मर्रुद का गुलूबंद भी तोड़, तोड़ पैमाने मर्दान खिरदमंद भी तोड़. बन के तूफान छलकना है उबलना है तुझे, उठ मेरी जान मेरे साथ ही चलना है तुझे. तू फलातून अरस्तू है तू ज़ोहरा परवीं, तेरे कब्ज़े में है गर्दूं तेरी ठोकर में ज़मीं, हाँ उठा जल्द उठा पाए मुकद्दर से जबी, मैं भी रुकने का नहीं वक्त भी रुकने का नहीं, लड़खड़ाएगी कहाँ तक कि संभलना है तुझे, उठ मेरी जान मेरे साथ ही चलना है तुझे।